People in the Fever were like, y'all.
That's not my point. There's a lot of other shit going on that players are like, this ain't where I want to be.
Over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some new shit going on around there.
It's a lot. Yeah. So you have players that are very significant on this Indiana Fever team that are like, I don't
want to be here.
This is where I want to be.
No one wants to come to Indiana. Remember when Sheryl Swoopes said that Kelsey Mitchell just dropped a truth bomb that has Swoopes looking foolish during her first interview since the start of training camp. Mitchell didn't hold back against Swoopes' lies.
With the new atmosphere, new coaching, everything is just absolutely new. It feels really good. It feels fresh. It's kind of like when you take your clothes out the dryer, kind of like fresh. It feels different, and it feels good because we have new leadership, we got new players, we got vet leadership, and so I think all that combined just makes for a good atmosphere right now. It feels good.
This interview exposes everything Swoopes got wrong about the Fever, from claims about veterans avoiding Indiana to suggestions that Mitchell herself was unhappy to stating Indiana and Caitlin Clark aren't dominant. The actual footage tells a completely different story. Watch as Mitchell Clark and Coach White systematically dismantle every false narrative that's been floating around this team coming from Swoopes. If you stand with the Fever, comment fired up for the Fever down below. Are you ready? Let's go.
Last year, it didn't feel good. So we have to get that in order first in order for people to start playing well. It's like the domino effect. But I think once your culture is kind of established, how you guys see it now, I think it makes everything else way easier. I don't know if that makes.
Let's set the record straight about Kelsey Mitchell and the Indiana Fever when Sheryl Swoopes went on her Queens of the Court podcast claiming Mitchell was unhappy and unappreciated in Indiana. She painted a picture of a fractured team that veterans actively avoided. But watching Mitchell's recent interview tells completely different story, one of excitement, camaraderie, and genuine optimism about the Fever's future.
Personally, here's where I think they didn't do a very good job, and that was with Kelsey Mitchell, who's an unrestricted free agent, because Kelsey Mitchell had a hell of a season this season, and I don't think she got the credit that she deserved.
The first thing you notice watching Mitchell speak is her unmistakable energy. There's a brightness in her eyes and an authenticity to her smile that can't be faked when asked about the upcoming season. She doesn't give rehearsed answers or diplomatic non-statements. Instead, she leans forward, fully engaged, her enthusiasm practically radiating through the screen.
I think the best part right now is everyone wants to be here. You know, it's really downplayed. It sounds cliche, but it's nothing like being where you want it and everybody feels value in order to go have a good training camp, have a good preseason, so you can have a good first game when the season starts. But I think right now, it's just that good feeling of everybody feel like, hey, I want to be here and I want to compete. So I think that's the first.
I think the best part right now is everyone wants to be here, Mitchell states with conviction, directly contradicting Swoopes' narrative of discontent. This isn't just team PR speak. You can hear the sincerity in her voice. Mitchell elaborates on how this shared commitment creates an environment where players push each other to improve daily. That's not the sentiment of someone feeling undervalued or looking for an exit. What's it?
So what's it been like adjusting to Stephanie White and I guess that culture you're talking about?
Oh man, I have nothing but great things to say about Stephanie. From the time I was in China playing and her trying to get me back here, and the leadership that she took to make sure I felt welcome and felt safe coming back and playing under her. She's done an unbelievable job with all of us one by one and making sure we all feel different but in a good.
What's particularly telling is Mitchell's emphasis on the team's fresh start. She speaks glowingly about the new atmosphere that's been cultivated, giving special attention to the leadership changes that have reinvigorated the organization. The excitement in her voice peaks when discussing how these shifts have created a more positive forward-looking culture within the team.
Culture. And I think once you establish the respect in the room, the environment is always is value with that. I think those days that are tough that you do have to give your grace for, it's respect behind it. We don't expect perfection right now, but we do expect discipline and we expect hard work. So if we could cultivate that and then give ourselves some grace when it's time to go win games, I think we.
When the conversation turns to the veterans who've joined the Fever, players like Dana Bonner and Natasha Howard, Mitchell's face lights up. She details how these experienced players have brought valuable perspective and championship mentality to practice sessions. Having veterans who choose to come here and share their knowledge changes Everything she explains effectively dismantling Swoopes' claim that established players avoid Indiana.
I think that your DBs, your Sophies, and even like Sid, it's like a wild card because they won and they know it on different levels. You got to think Sid Colson was maybe started on the bench but had to go get minutes, and she won a championship. And then it was the same with Natasha Howard. It's the same with DB. So we get a different leadership of vets that came. It's going to teach us how to win. So it's pretty fun.
Observe Mitchell's body language throughout the interview. Does she appear like someone feeling unappreciated? Quite the opposite when discussing her teammate. She gestures animatedly, often breaking into spontaneous smiles. There's a comfort and confidence in her demeanor that speaks volumes about her actual experience with the team.
Well, I think that mix of leadership that we have from your DBs, so Tosh Howard, and Sid, it's going to help ease things out based on the people that's coming around to see us. But I also think that it do helps us. Let me say this. Before we got here a month ago, we were all coming in. We would come from our respective homes to establish that already. And so I think that 5, we've established that like 2 or 3 weeks ago. It might have been open run, it might have just working out, but we've already kickstarted how we want to play and here so we could do it.
Mitchell's perspective on building a winning culture is particularly insightful. She emphasizes that success isn't just about collecting talent, but fostering chemistry that translates to on-court results. We're learning to play together to understand each other's strengths. She says that's how you build something sustainable. These aren't the words of a disgruntled player. They're the thoughtful reflections of someone invested in long-term success.
When I met Caitlin and the moment she met me, like I said, when you respect your teammates and respect as competitors, it makes for a better relationship. It makes for a better dynamic. And I think that me and C Square, I established that 2 years ago now. So I think everything with us is going to always be kosher and really put together because we've already established who we were as people and as players and how we can help make each other better. So it feels good to me already.
Perhaps most damaging to Swoopes' narrative is the fact that Mitchell actively chose to return to the Fever. Actions speak louder than third-party speculation. And Mitchell choosing to continue her career in Indiana speaks volumes. When asked about playing alongside Caitlin Clark, Mitchell doesn't show the resentment or tension that Swoopes implied. Instead, she talks about complementary skills and mutual respect, describing how their different playing styles create opportunities for everyone on the court.
Their strength, for one, is always, from a physical standpoint, her strength and her ability to now make plays that people don't think about. Whether it's that skip to skip, I mean, you know, a person of her caliber, it seems small, but it's going to make her go from having 25 to having 28 or 10 assists to 12 assists. So for one, her strength, and then after that, professional, learning, you know, watching film, you know, knowing what you need. And I think that's going to take time for her specifically, but the rest is for her is already in the bag. I think strength is always going to be.
Mitchell's genuine enthusiasm for the team's direction becomes most apparent when she talks about their collective goals. We're building something special here, she says with conviction. I want to be part of that. The passion in her voice when discussing the Fever's future prospects completely contradicts any notion that she feels marginalized or unhappy. That something special brewing in Indiana. Caitlin Clark is approaching it with a mindset that would silence her critics. While Sheryl Swoopes confidently predicted Clark would struggle to adjust to the professional game, Clark's own words reveal a rookie who understands exactly what it takes to succeed at the highest level.
WNBA MVPs in your career, would you consider each of those 3 seasons as dominant seasons for yourself?
No.
I can't. Bro, Sheryl Swoopes is willing to lie about her own career before she even admits that Caitlin is dominant.
When asked about her first WNBA season, Clark immediately focused on an area many rookies overlook: physical development. The strength training aspect has been my biggest adjustment. Clark explained, her voice reflecting determination rather than frustration. These women are just stronger. They've been professionals for years. That's where I've had to grow the most. This matter-of-fact assessment shows Clark isn't blindly expecting to dominate based on college success. She's identifying specific areas for improvement and attacking them methodically. Yeah, I mean, that was like my biggest focus in the off-season, is just trying to get stronger and really working on that. And really thankful for Sarah, our strength and conditioning coach, put in a lot of time with me. And we were in here consistently. I think that was the biggest thing for myself, is just having that consistency to be able to work on it for 6 months, or whatever it was. So I certainly feel a lot stronger. And you know, I'm a pretty self-aware person, and I knew that was going to be a huge part of it. And you know how it's going to help me offensively. It's going to help me defensively. It's going to help me not get as tired throughout games. So yeah, definitely one of the focus points of my off season is just getting stronger. And you know, even through these 2 practices, like I can certainly feel it. Clark's pragmatic approach extends beyond physical training. Rather than lamenting the challenges of transitioning to the pro game, she frames it as an exciting evolution. You're learning a new offense, new teammates, new coaches. It's like starting fresh, she said, her eyes brightening with enthusiasm. But that's the fun part. I'm embracing all of it. Notice how she characterizes these adjustments as opportunities rather than obstacles. That's hardly the attitude of someone struggling to adapt. Well, I think the biggest
benefit, you know, obviously there's the aspect of having a new coach and a lot of new teammates. So in that regard, like, it's still a learning process and trying to figure your teammates out and figure out the new system. But the pace and the physicality and all of that, you're used to it. You're ready for it. You're ready for at the speed of how things are going to move. I think that having that under your belt is kind of what's helped me the most here. But at the same time, like, it's a learning process for all of us. There's, you know, most of the team here and most of the girls here are new players. So and the ones that have come back, you know, new coach, we're just trying to learn in the same way and build relationships with our teammates. So similar in that regard, but at the same time, you know, having a year under my belt is
really helpful. What's particularly striking is how Clark discusses her teammates during the interview. She maintained consistent eye contact when mentioning specific players, leaning forward slightly with genuine animation. Playing with Lexi Hull and Aaliyah Boston has been incredible. She shared a natural smile spreading across her face. We're figuring out our chemistry on the court, but off the court, we already click so well. The comfortable way she references her teammates by first name without hesitation or formality speaks volumes about the relationships she's building.
I don't think anybody's trying to be alpha. Like, everybody's trying to be a good listener and be there for your teammates. It's how do you find the balance of doing both? How do you speak up and be a great leader, but at the same time, how do you listen and how do you get better? And I think it all speaks to, like, the relationships that you have with your teammates. Is like, you got to go out of your way to build those. So when something goes wrong or you have to hold somebody accountable, they know it's coming in the best interest of the team. So I think it just starts with building relationships, getting to know your teammates. But at the same time, we have so much great personality on this team. That's what's going to make it fun. That's what fans are going to love and to watch about us. We're going to have a lot of fun playing basketball, and, you know, you embrace that about your teammates as well.
This camaraderie directly contradicts the divided locker room narrative. Swoopes tried to sell Clark appears fully integrated with the team, referring to group activities and shared goals with authentic enthusiasm. We grab dinner together. We hang out. It makes coming to practice fun every day, she explained. When you genuinely like the people you're playing with, it makes everything better. Her body language remained open throughout these comments. Shoulders relaxed, occasional laughter, none of the tension you'd expect from someone feeling isolated.
I think the vibes are really good, and that's what's really fun about it. Like, you know, obviously we're probably not in the heat of battle yet. I mean, we're out here competing with one another, but at the same time, like, everybody's here supporting one another and having fun and enjoying it. And I think that's what's cool.
Perhaps most revealing is Clark's perspective on the team's trajectory. Instead of focusing solely on individual accolades or immediate results, she demonstrates patience and long-term vision. We're building something that will last. Clark emphasized the wins will come as we grow together. This mature outlook directly challenges Swoopes' suggestion that Clark would be frustrated by anything less than immediate domination.
I was so used to playing basketball for basically a year of my life. That's all I did. So the rest was certainly great. And, you know, I thought it was going to feel long. It really didn't. It felt really short. Like, we played a lot of pickup. We were in here all the time. I was in here with Keith all the time. Had teammates coming in and out all off season working with me and wanting to get better. So, you know, like I said, I thought it would feel kind of long and drag a little bit, but it goes way quicker than you think. But that rest aspect for myself, just, you know, getting my body where it needed to be and really working on things that I needed to work on was super important. But I'm ready to compete again, so I'm excited.
When discussing game preparation, Clark showed remarkable self-awareness about her development process. I'm watching more film than I ever have, she admitted. In college, you might rely more on talent, But here the mental preparation makes all the difference. She describes specific defensive schemes she's learning to navigate. In offensive sets, she's mastering detailed analysis that reveals her commitment to professional growth.
DB has been tremendous. Like, she's such a selfless leader. Like, she's here to win. She says that, but she like really means it, and she leads in that example every single day. Like, we were just sitting over there talking after today, like just talking about practice and, you know, things we need to work on, things that went well, you know, things that, you know, everybody knows we have so much talent, but at the same time, like, you got to put that together. It's not going to be like, all right, you have all these great players, you step out on the court, it's going to work. Like, it's going to take a little bit of time to figure things out, figure out how everybody works with one another. So DB's been tremendous, and obviously, you know, not only as a leader, she's a tremendous basketball player.
The joy Clark finds in the game itself remains evident despite the pressures of being the league's most scrutinized rookie. At the end of the day, it's still basketball, she said with a genuine laugh. Sometimes with all the attention, you can forget that. But when I'm on the court with my teammates, that's when I'm happiest. This perspective, finding joy in the process rather than fixating on results, suggests a player built for long-term success rather than flash-in-the-pan moments.
She's won championship. She knows what it is. So when she speaks, everybody listens. So I think that was a piece of the thing we were missing last year. Is like we didn't really have that inside of our locker room. So just really grateful for that. And, you know, just the way she talks and she leads, like, for me as a second-year point guard, like, I want to win for her. Like, this is the end of her career. Like, she deserves.
Players can only flourish within systems designed for their success. And that's where Stephanie White enters this story as the mastermind architect. When Swoopes suggested the Fever lacked direction, she clearly missed White's methodical approach that's quietly constructing one of the most promising young cores in the WNBA.
I love talking to you guys all the time, but there was a point where the line had to be drawn. So I'm glad to see you all back here, but it was nice to get away from everything and just kind of be able to live my life as a normal person, enjoy things that I love to do, you know, cook, bake, be outside, go watch other sporting events, like see my family, just like be Caitlin and enjoy things that I really enjoy. And don't get me wrong, like I loved basketball and, you know, having the spotlight and playing with my teammates, like that's one of the most fun things in the world. But at some point, like we had a great year, and eventually getting away from that was really healthy for me. But it came to a point where I was itching to get back in here after like a month. So I'm happy to be back.
Coach White's basketball philosophy centers around a three-pronged approach that gives this team its identity. We want to be a defensive-minded team. First, White explained in her recent media session, our defense creates our offense. This defensive foundation serves as the bedrock of everything else the Fever are. Building far from the directionless team, Swoopes described White has implemented a detailed defensive system that leverages the unique physical attributes of players like Boston and Hull. The second pillar of White's vision emphasizes creative offensive expression. I want our players to play with freedom within structure. White noted basketball is a game of creativity, and I never want to stifle that. This balanced approach allows Clark's exceptional passing vision to flourish while still maintaining offensive discipline, a sophisticated system that contradicts any notion of strategic confusion within the organization.